have the right to know where Kamala Harris stands on those issues? Or should we be kept in the dark because Trump bad? Trump bad. That's what Joe Scarborough wants. He wants journalists to line up and say in unison over and over again, Trump bad, because that's been real effective, right? Listen, he wants to be a cheerleader for one side. That's great. Go be a cheerleader for one side. But don't sit there on your boring ass morning show where you tried to gaslight the American public about Biden's mental health and pass judgment on people who are trying to get Kamala Harris to answer questions on something amazing, policy.
Yes, I'm actually shocked to see myself agreeing with this lady. When you take a look at the mainstream media at this point, they are desperate. They want every person, especially liberals, not to say any good thing about Trump or to even question Kamala. Anything about Kamala should be put behind, which is insane. A real journalist would not believe this. MSNBC, we all know what Morning Joe is doing for a very long time, but it has reached that level that some liberals can't take it. Like this lady, she was on fire. I saw that video. I could not resist, than to show you what exactly is going on.
But there's a false equivalency going on in the coverage of this race.
Their objectivity actually is not objective at all. It ends up playing to Donald Trump's advantage every day.
In an effort to appear balanced, to appear objective, mistakes are absolutely being made and standards are being applied to both candidates here when Donald Trump is a different animal. He is an insurrectionist.
Well, the crew over at Morning Joe on MSNBC, the same crew that wanted Biden to continue running in this presidential race despite the fact that he was suffering from clear cognitive decline. Yeah, those people, they're furious that journalists would have the audacity of ever reporting anything negative on the Democratic nominee, Kamala Harris, because Trump he's a special threat. And so since they've decided that Trump is a very special threat, well, then journalists should hide information about Kamala Harris from you so you don't vote for Trump and definitely vote for Kamala Harris. In other words, they want the media to manipulate you and do the exact opposite of journalism. Don't believe me? Well, why don't we hear co-host Mike Barnicle make his case?
But there's a false equivalency going on in the coverage of this race, in that Donald Trump can say whatever crazy things he wants to say about submarines and sharks and electric batteries, whatever he wants to say. And it's not really covered in the sense that it's covered describing who said it, why he said it, and who the man is, Trump, out of his mind. And always in that story, in the equivalency, the false equivalency by too many reporters and too many American newspapers, there's also, by the way, Kamala Harris changed her mind on fracking. They always throw in something like that in coverage of the story. It's ridiculous. We don't cover the man for how dangerous he is.
Yes, according to Joe, every person should paint that black image of Trump. We have seen how the mainstream media cover Kamala for a very long time. They don't ask her real questions. She is not taking interviews in any case, and people don't know her positions, pertaining to her policies, a lot of things. Journalists should not talk about that. They should focus. Oh, Trump is a bad person. He's this, he's that, convicted. Those names, they have called Trump over and over and they are tired. If you remember, when these court cases came up, they called Trump all types of names. From one after another, it came to a level they lacked names to call him. Now, this man is standing here telling me, the liberal media is not doing enough, calling Trump those names. It is insane. Kamala has done things that people should question. This is election approaching. She should be able to answer questions.
Oh, I don't know what country I'm living in, but I feel like we get wall-to-wall coverage about Trump being a danger to this country. It is incessant. It is all they talk about on MSNBC. Did he just suggest that journalists shouldn't report on Kamala Harris changing her mind on fracking? Is that not an important policy that voters should be informed about? And also, is he under the impression that telling Americans the truth about where Kamala Harris stands on the issues automatically means that Donald Trump is going to win the election? See, this is when I started my career, when I started working at TYT back in 2007, there really wasn't like left-wing media. There was like Fox News, and the right-wing media infrastructure was kind of being built. And I prided myself and the left wing on the fact that we didn't try to manipulate audiences, and we didn't try to lie to people or cover up the truth about our preferred candidates or preferred politicians. We didn't want to stoop low and do what the right wing was doing with their misinformation, with the fact that they would omit incredibly relevant, important parts of the story in order to make Republicans look good and Democrats look bad. And now we're in this awful era of conditioning audiences and readers to expect journalists to cheerlead like partisan hacks.
From my clear observations, what I realized, the Kamala campaign don't want people to know anything. They just want you to be blind. Go there because you know she's a Democrat and cast the vote. That is what these people are doing. They just don't want to speak up. Reason, they just want her to be in the basement. That is all. If possible, they will not even do debate. Yeah, because this is a little place that some things can expose about her. So they don't just want that. They think that American people are stupid.
Let's watch.
Even Arlington, you've seen major newspaper outlets talk about, well, how will this impact Kamala Harris and the issue of Afghanistan after he goes? And he
does a thumbs up and pictures.
Well, and just acts like a brute and desecrates Arlington. That's not a time to say, well, how does it, it's. But again, we see it time and time again. For some reason, the mainstream media. What are we, 9 years in to Donald Trump's era in American politics, still doesn't know how to cover Donald Trump. Their objectivity actually is not objective at all. It ends up playing to Donald Trump's advantage.
Don't be objective because it plays to Donald Trump's advantage. Why? Because journalists want to answer a question about how Kamala Harris would handle Afghanistan, what her views on Afghanistan happen to be. Do the American voters have the right to know where Kamala Harris stands on those issues? Or should we be kept in the dark because Trump bad?
Yes, I have often questioned MSNBC if this is a news channel. But what I realized at the end of the day, they do commentaries. Yeah, that is just a YouTube channel. They do more propaganda. I don't see a real news channel doing this. Look at Libras. They are saying exactly what I have been saying for a very long time, and Anna here cannot stand it. Maybe someone will say, oh, conservatives are lying. If you see Libras now calling out these people, it is because they have reached that level. People cannot take it again. Pure propaganda. At a certain point, when you look at them, the way they pretend like, oh, they are doing real journalism, I want to point out something. Have you ever seen a case where they do segment like the real talk on both sides? You will not see it. Every person that is coming on MSNBC is to spread propaganda against Trump, against Trump, against Trump. That is all true.
It's one of the best
gun-toting.
Damn, Kamala.
Kamala Harris is in office right now and has not tried to do anything about the border, has not tried to not tax people on TID.
For some people, it's already started.
But when you disrespect Kamala Harris, they say
and they disappear.
The money in politics is so extraordinary, which is something that should have never been allowed to happen.
Much more happens at the DNC.
A couple of weeks ago, Bobby Kennedy, scion of the most storied dynasty in Democratic Party history,